Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today on Polywine, where we like to take a deep dive into stories pulled from the media and have a fun time while breaking it down. I'm Jillian, and let's get into it. So, this past week, we went to the closing ceremonies of the Paralympics. If you had not had an opportunity to watch the Paralympics, I highly recommend that you go back on Peacock. You can catch a lot of the highlights, a lot of the major events. If you can watch some of the other the not so most popular events, because all of them really were spectacular. They were great. Congratulations to all the athletes, but I'd also like to say a special congratulations to the Paralympics. A lot of them had guides, or a lot of the athletes had guides, assistants. Um, that actually did the races with them, and I'm kind of speaking more along with, like, the runners. Um, some of the guides, I mean, they had to run the same pace, they had to stay together with them. A lot of times they had to keep constant contact. I do know, I believe it was an athlete, I think it was from Spain. She was a runner, and her guide, I think, stumbled a bit and was having a muscle cramp or something like that, I was reading. And she like bent down to assist her aide or her guide. And they are strapped together. They're tethered together by this strap. And I guess she let go of the contact of the strap and therefore disqualified her. She was in the running for a bronze, but she was then disqualified for releasing the strap. So, I mean, just heartbreak there, but I mean, just what a fantastic performance by all the athletes. I thought it was the games went really well. I was a little disappointed in the coverage. I was hoping for more of the Paralympics. If when I was watching it on online and when I was going back through Peacock, and even seeing some of it when it was live on I was watching some of it on Hulu. It seemed it was a little disjointed, in my opinion. I think that when they were trying to go back and air a lot of and let's be honest, I think that, NBC when Peacock was just really trying to air a lot of the main events, of the sports, but there were just so many fantastic events, but they were airing the main events, and they were just kinda clumping them together in a seating, if you will. And they would have a 2 or 3 hour block, showing events, and there were a lot of commercials, and not enough commercials with the Para Olympians. There were a lot of, commercials that aired from the previous, Olympics in Paris 2024 from the Standard Olympics. Still a lot of those commercials, but not too many with the Paralympians, and I was a little bummed about that, but there were some that were good. A lot of the announcers were para athletes as well. I think they did a really good job, but all in all, I wish there was a little bit of better coverage. Next time, NBC Peacock, just know the Paralympics. I'm telling you, some of those events are so much better. And I didn't really say that correctly. They're just much better to watch, more, I don't know, intense. They really are. Like, I was watching a relay. It was a four-leg relay, and it was incredible, and it was, co-ed, and the first I wanna say it was a 100 meter, and you'll have to look it up or Google it, but the first leg of the relay was, someone with that had a vision impairment. The second leg was, I believe, somebody had, I believe, an extremity impairment, a limb impairment. The other one was somebody had Downs, and the fourth part of the leg, or pardon me, genetic, um, some type of a disorder. And then the fourth leg of the event of the relay was somebody in wheelchair. And it was a phenomenal race. China swept it. The guy in the wheelchair and the female Chinese runner, amazing. But that relay race was just, I mean, it was gripping, it was intense, it was exciting, and I loved every second of it. So, and there were a lot of events like that, um, wheelchair, basketball, wheelchair rugby. There were so many great sports, and like I said, I wish there was a little bit more coverage, especially in the mainstream during prime time. And again, I wish it wasn't a little bit so disjointed because, like I said, when they were trying to clump it together for viewing, I felt it was a little bit kind of thrown together. Um, but all in all, I was very pleased. And again, congratulations to the athletes, the guides, the trainers, the coaches, and family and loved ones that help support their athletes and get them there along the journey, the training, and to the ultimate goal, the Olympics. So, congratulations to all there. Going over to a little bit of some TV and entertainment news, let's get into something a little sad here. The great, the titan, the legend of TV, entertainment, movies, the voice, the great voice of the grandfather himself, James Earl Jones, has passed away at the age of 93. I do not know what the cause of his death is or was. I don't know if his family is going to release that information. I hope, for anybody that's lived along 93 years, I hope that it was peaceful. He was, and we always kind of hope that it was natural causes. We don't ever want to hear of anyone suffering or being uncomfortable towards the end. But he was surrounded by loved ones and a tour de force. And God, some of his classics. Let's just go through A Field of Dreams, Coming to America, um, Hello, Star Wars, Darth Vader. There was just so many great ones. I can recall from being a kid when he was the King of Doom, or is that what it was? The King of Doom, but he was a snake guy in Conan the Barbarian with Arnold Schwarzenegger, the original one. That snake creature freaked me out. I'm telling you, I think that was part of my nightmares for many years. That whole snake thing through Conan the Barbarian. But God, he was just absolutely amazing, and what a great loss to the world. His voice, that voice was so iconic, and you knew it ever. And plus, he did like the AT&T commercials for years. Was it AT&T? He did one of the phone commercials for years. He was just the ultimate voiceover. So, James Earl Jones, thank you for all the years. You will definitely be missed, but we were lucky to have you while we did, and you are an absolute legend in the entertainment world. So, we are so sorry to see you see you go. On another note, so that was a closing out, but let's start with a fresh beginning. Ryan Seacrest made his debut as Wheel of Fortune host. Pat Sajak has taken a step to the side. He will be coming back for the Celebrity Wheel of Fortune, so I have read. But he will be coming back for the Celebrity Wheel of Fortune. But Ryan Seacrest has got the Monday through Friday job. It's locked in with Vanna White. And I watched it last night. And I have to say, 2 thumbs up, Ryan. I thought he was going to be a natural fit. I love that he immediately came out right away and say, doesn't want to change anything. He is just the new step, the new passing of the torch in the new generation, if you will, of Wheel of Fortune. He's not changing anything. He's keeping the show the same, the format the same, and very exciting. And I thought he did a great job. The attendants, or what do you want to say, the game show contestants, they were so excited. They were the first ones on the new season, the new host. They were just pumped, and he was just a natural fit. He has such a great, background of work, a body of work, if you will, for Ryan Seacrest. He's done his radio shows forever, so he's constantly interacting. And as someone who had a child through the Children's Hospital system, Ryan Seacrest has a lot of the Seacrest studios in Children's Hospital, which are just awesome. And they always have something going on there, and it's super, super cool. So, he's got the radio background. He was on Live with Kelly Ripa forever. He was on American Idol forever. He's done a little bit of everything. He's just in that entertainment world. It was a natural slide into the position, and I thought he did great. And the reviews are in, and everybody's, from what I read in one of the outlets, the quote was, in quotation marks, pleasantly surprised. I wasn't pleasantly surprised. Ryan, I knew you could do it. I was a believer, and you did a great job, and you just looked so comfortable. You looked so comfortable. Vanna seemed a little weary, in my opinion, because she was just like, oh, this is new. You never know how it's going to take. especially if anyone remembers when Vanna Whitefield and when Pat Sajak had that emergency stomach surgery. She filled in for him, and her reviews were not so great. Vanna, just keep to what you do best. You stick with those letters, you work it, and you work it well. And that's what we love about you, Vanna. Okay. And your gorgeous dresses. But Ryan, great job. Congratulations. And we'll be watching. There's my child loves Wheel of Fortune, and it's great for helping her spelling. So we will be watching. It'll be on in our home all the time. It was awesome. Absolutely awesome. So let's get over to a little bit about the politics. Let's get into it. Tonight, the presidential debate is on. I am so freaking excited. I can't even tell you. This is my Super Bowl. This is my Super Bowl. And just a little fun fact for all my friends out there. In the name Polywine of this podcast, the poly stands for politics. Because I originally wanted to do something that was mostly politically based of conversation. And that's kind of how it started. I wanted to do some politics over a glass of wine, and we just kind of got into a little bit of everything else. Things evolve over time. So we talk a little bit of politics, we talk a little bit of this, we talk a little bit of that. The wine I had to cut out because I quickly realized that second sip of wine that I take, I'm all over the place. I can't really stay on track. So I now save the wine afterwards. I can't really do it on wine, but just know this. I'm telling you, with the debate, there will be a delicious glass of vino to my side and as my partner in action, because I will be watching debate. I will be taking notes. I will be taking screenshots on my phone and on the TV, and I will be bringing it back to you, breakdown, and I'm very excited. So DNC, or not DNC, pardon me. I'm still so excited about the DNC, and that was like a couple weeks ago. But tonight, presidential debate. This was the one that was set when it was originally Biden. This date was set pre-June one. That was a debacle for Biden, and then, geez, like 2.5 weeks after that, he was out, and then it was Kamala. Now it is new platform. We've got Kamala. We've got Trump. Let's go. Let's have fun. Let's see how it goes. Rules are a little bit different this time. The mics will be muted in between each candidate who's going to be speaking, and no audience. So interesting. Let's see how it goes, because usually Trump plays well off his audience. He kind of feeds off that energy. And since there will be a lack of an audience, let's see how that goes for him. Will he do well? Will he not? We shall see. Kamala. So let's see how she's going to do. Is she going to be? She has been practicing, from what I have been reading, very intensely. I think they said that she was in Pittsburgh in a hotel where she had a mock stage, lighting. She had somebody that was dressed up, an aide that was dressed up and looked like, as close as they can, as Trump, to get the exact feel that she is going to be encountering tonight. So she can be as prepared and ready as can be. So, and typically, and he is historically announced over and over again, Trump has, that he does not prepare for the debates. Although he will have some talking points with some of his aides, he does not prepare for the debates because he likes to be, unrehearsed and let's just say off the cuff, if you can. That typically works with an audience. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how. I think this is going to have to be a very delicate dance for, Kamala, right? He's telling everyone, Trump is saying to the world, we don't know her. A lot of people feel that way, even though she was vice president and she was senator and was it district attorney? I think prosecutor. I don't know, but she was an attorney forever. And so she knows how to debate, so that should be great. She knows how to spar, and she's intelligent. She's going to come with facts. But how is nerves can get to the best of anyone. How's that pressure going to do? And how is it going to be standing next to him? They haven't met before. She hasn't met Trump before. I mean, they've passed each other. They've been in social settings, but they have, from what they have both said, they have not met one another. So let's see how that connection goes. Let's see if they hit it off well or amicably, or if it's going to be immediately rough waters. So let's ride the wave, babe. Let's ride that wave. Very excited. I've got my notebook ready. I'm going to be pausing, rewinding, fast forwarding, you name it, getting everything I can. All the deets for the debate. It's going to be exciting. And I'm also making my kids watch it with me if they're still up, just because it's a historical moment. So let's, just not forget, not only was in 2016 the first female presidential candidate, right? With Hillary Clinton. Well, we all know how that went, but this is totally fresh. We just 3 weeks ago, or about 3 weeks, maybe a month ago, Biden was still in the running. So everything's come down to the wire, quick change, new candidate, new platforms. Well, a lot of the platforms are the same platforms that she has been going on for months now and what she's been doing with the Biden administration. And full steam ahead. She's changed some of her things. She's tweaked a few things. So it's going to be interesting to see what positions, if she has changed or how she's evolved or kind of course corrected now that she is not the, running vice president. Now she's a running presidential candidate. So let's see if she kind of pulls away from what she's been doing in the Biden administration to, set herself apart. I'm, like I said, I'm excited, and I'm a little hopeful. I do like the audience there. I think it does give a good energy, and again, the candidates do feed off that because it is hard just sitting on an open blank stage with just one person. It's an interview, right? You just have one person asking the question, and it's an interview amongst two people. And it really is. That's the best way to put it. It is a job interview. And this is what we're going to get. So let the best man or woman win. So Philadelphia, 9 p.m., here we come with a very nice glass of vino to shore. So let's move on to a little bit of some shows, a little reality TV. Let's do a quick summary. Let's go to our good old friends over at Bravo Town. So, with this week, we're going to be catching up on the Real Housewives of Dubai reunion. As we left off last week, we had the feud of friends. Was it Lisa and Ayan? Are they going to split forever? Well, it looks like it might be. It's still going on. It's still pretty heavy. But I think the argument was pretty ridiculous. Let's just get to the core of the issue. This is a jealousy issue, right? Lisa, and it has been very clear, and it's just been rearing its ugly head more and more every episode. She is extremely jealous that her best friend, Chanel Ayan, is becoming friends with everybody else in the group. She was ride or die Lisa for all this time. For many years. They've known each other for years, and they've been great friends. And it's just been the two of them. It's been a unit. Well, now that she's introduced, now that she's being introduced to more girls in this group and expanding her friend group, and she even said that now that I'm, becoming friends with these group of women, I think that my good friend Lisa is becoming jealous. And the fact that I have become quite close to one person who she views as an enemy, therefore that is a major problem. So that is tough when one of your closest friends becomes friends with somebody you really don't like. But, friendships are a compromise, like any relationship. It's a compromise. It's, it's give and take. And there's got to be a place of understanding. Just because you don't like the person doesn't mean somebody else can't like them. Is it easy to be in a group setting with somebody you can't stand? It's not. We've all been there. You literally have to chew off your freaking tongue, but you do that for your friends and, to put your best foot forward and to be civil. That's how we are civil. So this whole fight with Lisa and Ayan, it's been a slow simmer all season. You could see the cracks in the foundation. You could see the uncomfortable drifting apart in certain scenes and how there was tensions were building. And it finally blew up. It blew up and it blew over. But what was the catalyst of the fight was really it came down to one word, one misinterpretation, if you will. The word begging. She one person heard, I think Lisa said that Ion said that their friend Carolyn said that she was begging to buy the property. And that's not because she wanted to buy a farm. Little backstory. She wanted to buy her husband's English and he wants to buy a farm back home in England, even though they live in Dubai, because that's his dream. And Caroline Stanbury said, you can buy my parents' farm in this town because that's the town you're looking at. And Lisa said, although your farm is lovely, we're looking for something much larger. Totally fine. Understandable. That's how properties go. So in real estate. So Lisa and Ion were talking about it. In some way, somehow somebody said that they were begging. That word was really blown up and just, and I somewhere it was a misinterpretation, right? It was a misunderstanding somewhere between somebody giving the story second or third person, however. But there was a slight misinterpretation. The same thing is being said, but one said begging, one didn't say begging. One said they were just interested, one said begging. It doesn't matter, but they blew up over the word begging. She was begging me to sell the house and the girl said, I didn't say begging. She said, you said begging and I thought you said the word. It was ridiculous. It really was ridiculous. The root of the problem is Lisa's jealous over Ion's friendship. Everybody said it in the cast. It is clear as day to everyone. And like I said, it's been a slow summer the whole time. Well, it blew up during the dinner party. And oh God, it was weird. Like Ion, I really, really like you. But when you go in meltdown mode, holy shit. Like you go in full baby, toddler, I don't know, meltdown. What do you call it? Sleep terrors, night terrors. Like my son had night terrors when he was really little. Like he would wake up and just freak out and scream in certain ways when he was really little. It just was very brief. And I feel like that's when she was when Ion starts crying like that. That's what it reminds me of. It reminds me of a small child with night terrors. It freaks me out. Like she really, really blows up. And she, of course, had a meltdown over that because her friendship dissolved right in front of everybody after the blow up with her best friend. So of course, she immediately gets upset and has immediate remorse and she takes off just like she always does, starts freaking out like she always does. But the full belly body ache meltdown crying is way over the top. Good TV, but way over the top. And I think we need to get into the root of that too. We really need to get into those core causes of that crying in public. In public. It's not like you're doing that at home with a closet where nobody's looking. No. In front of everyone at the party where Carolyn Steinbetty, who's also the host of the party, co-host together in the season finale party, she had to storm off and try and console her friend that was just wailing at the party. So let's just say at the best, disaster. It was a disaster. But let's see, the reunion starts this week on Tuesday. Let's see where they go, if it can be resolved, can it be repaired? As of now, they both say no when it comes to social media and on the podcast as they're doing many interviews. They both say no, it's not repairable. So it would be unfortunate if they can't move on. But then again, that's kind of how these shows are. But Dubai, please take a lesson from the Real Housewives of New Jersey. Once you hit that point of you're done with a friendship or any type of relationship, leave friends, family, whatever, when you're done, and you can't film with them and you walk away, you can't be in the same room, you can't film, you can't do that. There is nothing for us viewers to watch. And your days, on the show are done. So think about that. Just think about that at the reunion and following. Right now, it's good TV. I'm in it. Let's catch it. But until then, just take a note from New Jersey. Watch yourself, girls. Watch yourself. Your days could be numbered if you don't play right. But draw it out, make up, get back together, and then kind of, I don't know, give me like a little kooky Vicky and Tamra.
Not Tamara. I mean, Vicky and Shannon. Now they're getting back together. I like that. So, as we merge out of Dubai, catch the reunion this week. Andy Cohen's going to break it down. We're going to switch over to the Real Housewives of OC. Did you like my little segue? As I was saying, I hope that Ion and Lisa can get back together and get back on order, just like Vicky and Shannon, because on the Real Housewives of Orange County, Vicky is still ride or die Team Shannon. And I love that. I love that. When you have a friend that is in the thick of the worst point of their life, and that is what Shannon is going through. Although we thought she's gone before. When she divorced oh God, David, her first husband. That was awful. And she really had a breakdown then. And then the whole thing with her breakup with John Jansen now, and then the DUI, and her kids leaving her because now she's an empty nest. I feel terrible for Shannon. She was obviously in an extremely dysfunctional, unhealthy relationship, toxic relationship with her ex, John. And now that he's somehow coming back, and let's just go back to the lawsuit that she had years ago, as she was divorcing her first husband, David. So now that was awful. And she at least had Vicky and Tamara then. Now Tamara just being the horrible person she is and just turning her back on Shannon and pretty much anybody and everybody. At least you got Vicky. You got your ride or die, your OG of the OC, Vicky Gunvalson. And I freaking love myself some Vicky. I don't know what my problem is tonight. I cannot talk. Pardon me. I love me some Vicky, is what I was trying to say. The OG of the OC. I love her. She's kooky. She's crazy. Is she eccentric? Yeah. Is she over the top? Yeah. Is she really loud? Absolutely. Do I want to party with her? Sure do. And if I can't party with her, hang, because she looks like she can really party, I want to video record that stuff the whole time because that looks like fun. She looks like a great time. And so does Shannon. Yeah, super crazy. High intensity. But I love it. But they're there for each other. And that's what's great. Tamara, you turn into a horrible person. Not feeling it. Gina, not liking you this season. We've talked about it. You've turned on everybody. What happened? Like, you're just getting worse every season, and you are so self-absorbed right now. You are going through your own stuff. So I'm hoping that you're going to work through it by the end of the season, or you've got to go. Emily, I do really like you this season. You're just kind of goofy and a hot mess. So I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Don't get too into yourself because I think you could get too goofy and maybe lose your spot in the constant team member. You might lose yourself and suddenly become pushed as a friend of the show. That happens all the time when you don't have a huge storyline and you're just kind of a little quirky but don't really provide much. Suddenly you're a friend of, and I don't want you to become a friend of because I actually really like you. So stay there, Emily. You're cute. Even your whole weird dynamic with your husband, Shane. I'm starting to like Shane a little bit better too. Believe it or not. I don't know how that's happening, but that is. I do like Katie, the new girl. I do like Katie. Heather, I don't know. I don't know how to say this. I think I might be actually liking Heather a little bit this season. I don't know why. I think she's really kind of struggling to find her place where she fits in with everybody a little bit more this season, and she's trying to be a little bit more relatable. But I think being relatable to her because she's just so rich. I mean, just rich, that it's hard for her to kind of relate to anybody else on the show. But she's trying. She's trying to be like the rest of us commoners. Even those that have a lot of money can't even stand in comparison with Heather money. But I think I might be liking her a little bit. She's letting her guard down a little bit more this season. She's not looking so kind of like rigid in her personality and just so high maintenance. She's still high maintenance, but not as much. So, and she's kind of being funny. So there's, because I've been very anti-Heather pretty much always. So I got a little wiggle room for Heather this season. So bring it on, Heather. I'm liking it. And I want you to get together with Katie because I think Katie and Heather could actually have a good time. And I think they could actually like her, but they got to get past that whole paparazzi thing being called, whatever, who cares? Um, so that's that. Now, I have to go over and talk about the greatest docu-series that I've seen in a long time. And I've covered a little bit already of it in the past couple weeks. It is on HBO Max and it is called Chimp Crazy. It is so good. You cannot make up characters. Like this woman, Tanya Haddix. You cannot make up people like that. You can't dream of it. You can't imagine it. Screenwriters, if you and screenplay writers, whatever your title is, if you are a writer for show, reality, I don't care, stage, whatever it may be, you've got to come up with a character kind of like this woman, Tanya Haddix, who is the main character of this show, this docuseries. And she is the woman that is trying to, she took over this chimpanzee rescue or foundation for this other lady, Connie. And when all the legal stuff action, and if you want, we've talked about it before, PETA gets involved because they felt that the animal was neglected and the animal needed to be, it wasn't living in proper conditions at this foundation. So PETA stepped in after lawsuits. They gave Connie and Tanya time to redo the place, to make it up to standards for the quality of care for this animal habitat. And they failed miserably. So PETA stepped in, removed the chimpanzees off the property to this. It looks pretty nice, this chimpanzee sanctuary in Florida. I mean, it has islands where they put these groups of chimpanzees together. It looks really, really cool, this sanctuary. I mean, gorgeous. And every time you see a clip on the docuseries where they show this sanctuary where these chimpanzees are being relocated in Florida, it looks like heaven. The sun is glistening and it's surrounded by these moats and these islands, and they have these swings and trees. It looks like a little piece of Africa and it's absolutely gorgeous. But it's like you can hear the music in the background of Heaven's Gates open up. And to these chimpanzees that have been imprisoned in circuses and homes that were not conditioned for them, and you name it, to entertainment, and God knows where else these chimpanzees were rescued from. I mean, it's got to be heaven. It's got to be heaven. But in this past episode, in episode 4 on Chimp Crazy, as we know in episode 3, that was where she fled with Tonka. Tonka was the chimpanzee that Alan Cummins, the actors, had worked with in movies before, back in the late 90s when that was still okay. He had worked in the movie Ed. As he's done a whole bunch of stuff in Hallmark cards, at movies, and just, oh my god, just so cute. But in the last episode, in episode 3, when PETA came in to rescue all the chimpanzees from the Connie's Foundation, she and Tanya had taken over that foundation at that time. She fled with Tonka in the middle of the night. She let all the other chimpanzees go per court order, but she smuggled Tonka out and then had this crazy story that he died, they cremated him, but that was a lie. And you could see like the court cases that were happening because PETA was still coming after. Like they couldn't find Tonka. Where's Tonka? They had some reports from some other witnesses that had heard of Tonka was alive. And that's how PETA got some information to set in these court orders to try and find him. Well, through the documentary last week, we found out that Tonka was actually living with Tanya in her new mansion in the in the Ozarks that she bought, trying to hide Tonka, but she of course wants to open up her own wild exotic petting zoo. Well, last week she fled with Tonka. They found Tonka and the legal actions start again. So picking up this past week, and Tanya Haddix, like I said, you cannot come up with a character like this. She calls herself the Dolly Parton of a monkey mogul. And wow. Wow. Tanya. I mean, that the amount of wigs, the synthetic hair wigs that she has are just whoa, over the top. The lip injections, I don't know, that girl has so much, I don't know, Restylane, Juvederm in her face, Botox, you name it. False eyelashes, lash extensions. I mean, the spray tan that she goes to get think she said 3 times a week and then tanning beds. My God. I mean, the woman loves the product. I can tell you that. Um, but putting that all together, you can just imagine her look. I mean, she's got the blonde synthetic hair, the blue eyeshadow, the lash extensions, the Botox, the puffed up lips. So, I mean, the girl does not miss a med spa appointment, and you hear it at one point when the cops show up because when they find out that Tonka's actually living in her basement. PETA shows up with a court order and marshals, and they're coming to get PETA or Tonka. And they do. And um, when the cops, the marshals, and PETA come in, they tranquilize Tonka and have to do a full inspection on him, like a health check. They have to do a full physical on him because Tanya had said in the previous episodes that the reason that Tonka couldn't be relocated is he had an enlarged heart. He was dying of congenital heart failure. And she had even said to somebody else, the other clown, Dwayne, that she could no longer keep Tonka in her basement. And now that PETA was after her, maybe she should have him euthanized. So that kind of set the thing into play that PETA was like, oh my God, it's urgent. His life is at risk. She could potentially euthanize him. So the veterinary came when they picked him up to see if he actually had a heart condition, if he could, stand the transport from Missouri to Florida. And the veterinary deemed him clear, healthy, that he did not have an enlarged heart. That was something else that she had made up along the way, which, I mean, there were so many stories that Tanya had made up. But he was healthy enough for transport, and they eventually did transport Tonka pretty early in the episode, which was great news. So throughout the episode, you see her suffering, emotionally, she's having a difficult time. And then we kind of go back to some of the stories throughout the other episodes that have been famously in the news with other chimpanzees for very negative reasons. You had about the one in Pendleton, Oregon of, was it Travis was the one in Stamford, Connecticut that ended up getting out and attacking, was it Pam? I think her name was Pam but anyway, the lady who had the chimpanzee, Charla, the friend of her who used to help come over and take care of the chimpanzee and love the chimpanzee, where the chimpanzee attacked her and like ripped her face off, her jaw, her eyes, her nose. That was the one in Stamford, Connecticut. There was another terrible story where the chimpanzee had to be shot because he was attacking someone in Pendleton, Oregon. So we keep going back to these stories. And then there were some other stories that came out about chimpanzees in captivity and eventually kind of going mad and attacking their trainers or their caregivers or just turning because they go mad. And you can see them throughout the documentaries, like when the chimpanzees are just bouncing off the cage, they're just going berserk. They're just going insane for being locked up and not being able to go outside. And it's just heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking. And you see Tanya really going through depression through this episode. Tonka's gone. What is she going to do? Now she's focused on getting her petting zoo in order. And she does. Tanya does. Throughout the episode, you see her, she talked about in the previous episode, she wanted to get horses and put horns on them and spray paint their hair pink so they look like unicorns. And she did. She did. You saw the horses in her petting zoo or her exotic zoo that had the bedazzled unicorns horns on. They had the tie-dyed and pink hair, you name it. She did it. When the girl says she's going to do something, she does something. And she kept saying to the to the producers and the cameraman, like, if I could have smuggled and to I think it was Dwayne, if I could have smuggled, Tonka to Mexico, I would have done it. That's how desperate I am. And when you hear Tanya talk, and when you've heard her story throughout the episodes, you can you have to give some compassion and definitely some empathy out to Tanya. I think because you can see she really cares. She loves love. She loves to be a caregiver to others. She wants to just smother people with their love. I mean, when you heard her story when she was 19 years old and she was like the youngest foster parent in the state of Missouri, and that's how she's fostered all these kids, but that's how she adopted her daughter of special needs, and she has her son, her own biological son, and so you can see that the woman loves and she cares, but she takes it so over the top and it becomes so overbearing and excessive where it especially when it comes to the animals, because she just wants to have that constant need of having someone to love and take care of, and that's why that chimpanzee feels it, because they live long lives. They live long like we did, 60, 70 years when I was reading, if not more, and on rare occasions. Or I'm not a primate expert, maybe it's longer, I'm not really sure, but I know that they can live that long in 60s and 70 years and stuff, these great apes. Um, but I mean, it was so she was saying, "I know that we'll be together forever, and if I could have smuggled him to Mexico and paid a coyote to do it, I would have." And I think she would have. I honestly think Tanya would. I mean, she was smuggled a chimpanzee through the state, through multiple states, faked his death, faked a cremation, faked his ashes, and smuggled him to a hotel. I mean, my God, the woman's got some gusto. I'll give her that. But if she did that to smuggle him out of the last sanctuary that he was in, I definitely believe that she would have spent money and smuggled him out into Mexico. I think she would have. But PETA got there first. But now you see her with this petting zoo, and she's just, all these new exotics. She's got these capuchins. She's got sloths. I mean, everything. So you can see this is just her need, this petting zoo, to keep getting more exotic animals, feeding this need to buy and sell, definitely, because that's how she's making her money, but to constantly care. But it goes so far left, and it goes to psychological. It's a psychological obsession almost, in my opinion, and it goes to delusion. I mean, it's delusional. She talks about how she just wants to build this island, this fantasy island. And I think that's what the episode was Fantasy Island, that she wants to build this island and create it for chimpanzees and other primates. And she just wants to live there openly, like Jane of the Jungle. And, and it was so fascinating because you see other primate experts. And God, what was the lady in Florida who lost the chimpanzee chance? Oh my God. God, was her was that Pam? What was her name? She wanted to be the greatest chimpanzee trainer of all times. Like, she was like, she lived with her chimpanzees and she loved them. But she even said, she's like, you can't sleep with them. That's crazy. You have to set some boundaries. And it didn't look like she had a lot of boundaries, but she definitely had some. And you could tell that chimp loved that woman. Like, he loved him. But you could, I don't know. I don't know. It's such a foreign concept to me, because I see these things as almost as our human equals. They are stronger than us. They adapt. They have superhuman strength. And let's not forget that when they are in the wild and they feel threatened, they are known to rip apart other chimpanzees and then eat them. They have cannibalism qualities. Yuck. And that's who you want to live with. Unpredictable, wild animals. And that's what Tanya kept saying. I just want to build this sanctuary and live with them, live amongst the primates and be happy. And my oh my. I mean, it just didn't end, even though that PETA came in, took all of her chimpanzees, even the one she smuggled, took that one too, taking her to court. And then after they fined her $225,000, I think that's what it was, $225,000. They offered to completely void her fines. Null and void. We completely erase all fines if you stop immediately getting out of the buying and selling and brokering of wild animals. And she's like, absolutely not. So she's still on this obsession. She's still on the loop. She has to have that need to fill that love. And you even saw in the other episodes, her biological son, Justin, was like, I mean, like, he's very empathetic. He was like, she has to have that need of somebody wanting her, somebody having to have her take care of them. She needs that to be the role of her life. And he was like, and there's something admirable and honorable about it. But however, she doesn't seem the harm that she's causing herself, others, and to the animal. And she couldn't get past her own need to see what she was actually causing the animals. And to see Tonka, in the new sanctuary was just awesome at the end. His face, he was so cute and sweet. And then Alan Cummings comes to make him a visit at the end. And thank God. It was a sad story for so many years for Tonka. And I hope he can live a longer life than, now that he's in a somewhat freer environment. He's still in captivity. But there was a takeaway that I saw at the end of the documentary. And I got to say, it was so great. It was fascinating. It was a world. It opened my eyes up to a world that I'm completely unfamiliar with, these exotic animals, these wild animals, to people like Tanya. And I got to tell you, Saturday Night Live, I hope you are doing skits on her. Remember how, because this documentary was brought to us by the same documentarian who did the Tiger King. So remember several years ago when that came out during COVID, Tiger King, that was like the #1 Halloween costume for that season. I hope Tanya Haddix is this year. And then you also had Carol Baskins from Tiger King too. She was the other major Halloween costume for that year. I hope Tanya Haddix is this Halloween major costume. I hope that's the #1 seller because it's just phenomenal. You got the lips, you can get the giant wax lips as her lips, or just major lip liner outside the lines. You got to get the synthetic wig, the tan, you name it. But can we just say that there's something I left out there that was interesting. During this last episode, Tanya was bandaged up. And in the need of wanting to be around a chimpanzee, she was volunteering her time around another one that attacked her. It mauled her. Yes. And even after she was attacked by this other chimpanzee that she was giving care to, not Tonka and none of the other chips, but she was like, yep, I still want to eventually open up a sanctuary of my own on an island where I can live amongst them. I mean, Tanya, crazy, absolutely insane. Can't get enough of it. Fantastic. But what I was going to say is the takeaway that I got is at the very end of the docu-series, they were showing pictures and the lifespan in memoriam of the chimpanzees that in the previous stories that we had talked about, like Rick and Buck. Buck, that was the name of the one in Pendleton. I couldn't remember. Buck. Travis, the chimpanzee that went berserk in Connecticut and mauled the face off of her friend. That for animals that live so long, that have lifespans similar to humans, and like I was watching there was a new documentary the other day on Netflix about orangutans that David Attenborough did, which, side note, David Attenborough is my favorite narrator of all time ever. And by the way, he's 99 years old, still pumping out the documentaries and still working. Sounds great and still sounds as clear today at 99 as he did 50 years ago. I don't know, or longer, 60, 70, I don't know. Amazing. But anyway, and there was this family of orangutans that they were following there, and the one was like 60, almost 70 years old. This one mother. So, and they were talking about the relatively of how the lifespan of the great apes. So the chimpanzees live very long. But the takeaway I had is when they were showing the memoriam of these previous chimpanzees that had lived in captivity, they only lived like 15 years, right? I mean, most of them like 15 to, I think the longest was 17. So my takeaway is they just do not live long lives in captivity. I mean, it's psychological, it's definitely diet. I mean, all these animals seem very unhealthy. And like I said, you could see during the episodes, I mean, Tanya was giving them everything. Happy Meals, Powerade, chicken nuggets, more chicken nuggets than I think I've had in my entire life. And the donuts. Did you see the whole donut scene where she was like sugar binging in the last episode? And she was giving all the animals, like sloths, camels, capuchins, you name it. Horses, they were all getting. Did anyone notice the pink, the strawberry covered glazed donuts? So everybody was getting donuts. So poor diet, I should say, was definitely a major component of the short lifespans. But it had to be captivity, right? And so that was really sad because you had heard so much during the docu-series about how these people who adopted these chimpanzees and how it was like the greatest love in their life and how they do anything for them. And they raise these chimpanzees as if they were their own biological children. That is the love connection that they had with these animals. And that love was so great, it completely skewed the reality of that it was endangering the lives of the animals. So I mean, the paradox of everything you saw, and it was just so fascinating to me. I couldn't look away. I couldn't stop watching it. And I'm sure there were so many scenes that I had to rewind and watch again because I was just like, did I just see that correctly? Did I just hear that correctly? So can't get enough of Tanya. Couldn't get enough of this docuseries. I hope there's another one similar coming out just for entertainment value. I don't want to see any more animals harmed. But I mean, wow. Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was great. Since they both have done so well, I'm sure there'll be another one coming out soon. We shall see. I'm going to have to Google that, the producer and see what his next project is. Cause I was so far 2 for 2. Fantastic. So there was also another thing that came out on Netflix that we'll get a little bit more into. I just finished watching that. Did you see or have you seen the previews for the new Netflix series limited series called The Perfect Couple? It had Liev Schreiber, Nicole Kidman, and a whole bunch of other people in it. Entertainment to watch. Interesting murder mystery. I usually figure that kind of stuff out pretty quickly. So I was really liked it kind of took you in a lot of different directions. So I found that to be fascinating and definitely kind of kept me on the line for sure. So it good, definitely good distractions to kind of redirect your mind and who did it. But I have to say, and this happened last time I was watching Nicole Kidman in something. She did that Hulu special not that long ago, where she was a psychologist who brought all those families and couples to that retreat to study them, and she ended up kind of drugging them. That Hulu special, I had the same issue that I did with this Netflix series. Is Nicole Kidman, I find to be a fantastic actress. She has a wide body of work. She's a versatile actress. I've seen her. I mean, we've all seen her just kind of do every role. She's great. With that being said, she has had so much work done, so many fillers injectables that her face doesn't move, and she almost looks cat-like to me. And I find it so distracting that I'm looking at her face that I constantly get lost a little bit in her character because I'm just looking at her face. I don't hear what's coming out of her mouth. I don't really see what she's doing. I'm just staring at the work because she doesn't look like the Nicole Kidman that I've seen my whole life. And of her acting career, I should say, since what was it? Dangerous Days, Dangerous Thunder, Rolling Thunder, Thunder Days. What was that movie she was in that she kind of broke out here with Tom Cruise and that's where they got married? That racing movie. She doesn't even look the same. And look, we all change, evolve. I am not going to, fault anyone or, be snarky about anybody getting work done. But I mean, she looks unrecognizable. And although, again, Lee Shriver was a really good jerk in this series, and I like him too. But I found it fascinating. We're going to get into that a little bit more next episode. We're going to get into a little bit, not a little bit, a lot of the debate. Super excited. Let's get ready for the Dubai reunion. Let's see how Andy handles that. Let's see the couture that Ion's going to wear. I mean, that woman is stunning, and she always brings the flair and the pizzazz. Excited about that. Poor Shannon Bedore. She found out last week that there was a video out that she was potentially being blackmailed in a sense. I don't think it's officially blackmail, but she had a full meltdown. Let's see if she recovers this week. That's what's going on in the Bravo circuit this week. So let's see what is happening in the upcoming weeks. We're going to have on Bravo, we've got Salt Lake City coming back. We have Beverly Hills. That's coming in, and Atlanta, and Miss Phaedra Parks is back. I'm so excited. Not only that, she's on Dancing with the Stars too. So she's the circuit. She was on The Traders, which she was great at. She was on the Real Housewives Girl Trip. She was great on that too. So I'm loving this Phaedra return tour. I think it's awesome. I'm here for it. So let's see what happens in the upcoming weeks on Bravo. It's going to be good. I'm excited. Fall season, television, reality TV, it is back. It is time. I'm excited. So thank you so much for joining us today on Polywine. If there's anything that you'd like to talk about, discuss, any hints that you want me to bring up, I'm here for you. So please follow us on Polywine Time on the gram and listen to us anywhere you get your feed. Thanks so much. Have a great day and join us next time. Bye.